Welcome to this month's EVerest Technology Steering Committee call. As Marco is enjoying a well-deserved vacation, I'm stepping in as to chair this call this time. Highlights for this month, the Open Charging Summit, the case study with Seed, and then the CEC virtual workshop. But as always, let's start with the antitrust policy notice. So if you're new to this call, basically for everybody, but if you're new to this call, please read this and please keep this into account during this call. So I'll give a bit of time to read this. But in summary, please don't share anything you're not allowed to share. Please be nice and please don't be rude to others. What's new? News. I think biggest news here is the case study with Seed Studio. So Seed Studio from China really surprised us a while ago by just publishing that they did a product, what they call Recharger, which is a production-ready open source charging station. They hadn't talked to us, and they made, based on their board, based on EVerest, a charging station implementation using Zephyr, so Linux, an open source Linux real-time operating system, running EVerest, and we did a case study together with the Linux Foundation with them, with the guys from Zephyr on hey, how did this come together, what is brought in here. So this was published, I think, last week. So if you want to read into this really nice work, what the guys did. And I've heard that they're also working on now a more DIY style kit for charging stations. Seed is really well known in the DIY hacker community for building hardware boards for people to play around with at home. So I'm looking forward to what these guys will come up with in the near future. Then events. We had an amazing EV charging summit in Dallas last week. I was not there, so maybe Shankari can say something about this. Were you there?
I was not there either. Unfortunately, I sent a recording because it conflicted with the Joint Office All Hands, which was in Boston in exactly those 2 days. And I actually asked whether I could skip that and go to this, and they said no. So, yeah.
Too bad. Too bad.
I did not attend, but there were some people from AFS there, and they said it was very interesting, and that almost all of the demos that you know were shown off, or the PlugFest part did use EVerest. So EVerest had a very strong presence at the summit.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I've heard there were something like 50-60 people of attending, where the first day was a lot of talks, people presenting stuff, where the second day was demos, testing, real life testing, and kind of like a PlugFest test event. Yeah, so really good first version of this. So I hope we can do another one next year with an even bigger event, maybe. Let's see. And thanks TI for hosting this. The other event that was on the highlights, the CEC virtual workshop. Is that also something to mention as an event, Shankari, or is that somewhere later on the slides?
I don't have anything else in the slides about it. So that was also an event. So the California Energy Commission had a virtual workshop on ISO 15118-2 implementation. There were several people who spoke, including Tesla and Vector and CharIN. I presented about EVerest as an open source implementation that people could use for it. There's some interesting talks around testing and so on. And Tesla brought up their favorite. Can we just remove TLS idea, which we will give feedback on. But yeah, it was an interesting event, and there were several people in attendance as well. It's a virtual workshops. I don't have the actual, I don't know the numbers, but there was significant interest and follow-up for the topics that was discussed.
Cool, thanks. Thanks. Nice that you were able to present EVerest to that community. Then working group updates. Cloud communication first. Pete, if you're here, or should I do it?
Yeah, I can give a quick update. We have made quite some changes to the database handling or exception handling in the database. We had some situations in which some operations like meter values insert were actually causing a crash where we would probably just want to have a retry or do not really care about the failed operations. So we added some more graceful handling of these exceptions there, and that came together with some stability improvements for 1.6 and 2.0.1. The smart charging implementation for 2.0.1 is quite far. So I think we are pretty close with hooking up the OSPP messages because all the business logic, which is really the major part of all of that, is close to being done, which is really nice. And right, I think a few weeks ago there was a new edition 3 published by the OCA, in which we have some clarifications and additions, and yeah, everyone should use this new edition to look up the requirements. And for 1.6, the minimum required error codes have been added, and there will probably also be a change for 2.0.1 in the future, because we have made quite some changes in the EVerest framework considering the error handling. So also the path how these errors arrive in OSPP coming from the different modules changed a little bit and will be like hooked up soon. And I think error handling in general is something that we are going to pick up for OSPP 2.0.1 also in the near future.
Thanks for the update. Then car communication. Moritz, you say something about status update?
Sure. It's pretty much the same as last month. The EV manager is still in development. That hasn't been merged yet. This is the C++ implementation of an EV manager. Still quite a lot of work going on that pull request. And the lib ISO 15118, which shall eventually replace the current -2 implementation of the FCV2G module, is going on quite well. There are branches for the AC integration, and there is a lot of work going on for the -2 support that's coming along. But most important of all, this initial -20 module, which will be using this library as an initial experimental implementation, is almost ready to be merged, if I understand Sebastian correctly. Furthermore, there was a few bug fixes in the existing FCV2G module and some other minor bug fixes coming in as well. And that's all.
Some progress, nice. Cool. Thanks for the update. EVerest framework and tools. Maybe Evgeny, you give an update on this part? At least the Bezel part, I know that you guys have been working hard on. So
yeah, so basically I can for sure update about Bezel. So basically Bezel is another build system that we support now, and basically we had some improvements how Bezel follows the dependencies from dependencies YAML that is used by CMake. And as well as we documented how to use it for everyone who wants to try it out. So, and basically, if no one can comment on anything on the other side,
I think the last 3 are also Rust based, so you might be able to. I think the version information output I'm not sure.
So yeah, basically version information output is just like that. There are generally kind of discussions about that, like we want to add version information into the logs so that like when others send us errors, like complain about something, we see which version is used, but like there is no like final decision yet how it should be done. And basically, there are two topics which are pending with Rust support. Is actually supported in Meta Everest, which is basically Yocto wrappers around Everest to cross compile. And now, since error handling seems to be settled in the framework, now it's need to be implemented in Rust. But this is just work that didn't start it yet. It's just like preparing to do it.
Yeah, thanks for the update. CI/CD testing. Anybody here that knows that this part of that group? Because I don't think. Pete, do you know anything on this topic?
Yeah, probably Andreas knows best. I
He's
think
not
I
in the
don't have a
call.
good overview. Yeah, since I was on vacation as well.
Yeah. And let's skip this part for now. I think this is a lot on the testing part, on the alignments. Maybe Shankari, have you been involved in these discussions for the last weeks? No, let's skip this for now.
No, unfortunately. I mean, it is something that I want to get involved in again, but I have not been attending the meetings.
No, we will do an update next TSC. End-to-end smart charging demo. Joint office, Shankari.
Yeah, we're gonna try. I don't know whether we're going to succeed. But given that the joint office has been for Accenture implementing smart charging in OCPP 201 and CharIN is coming up, we are trying to see if we can put together all of the pieces and see if they work first in with software in the loop. And then if that works, then actually try testing it at CharIN. Whether do we think it will work? I don't know. But we won't know until we try. So we're gonna try. We came up with a list of things that we want to experiment with to see whether it will work. There's an issue that's opened in the Everest demo repo for this. We may hack together some things to make it work, even if it's not perfect. And we're going to focus on very, very narrow scope again, because it's not really there yet. But just to see where we are and how far we are, we're going to try it. We're also, I mean, if there are other things that the community would like us to test at CharIN, then let us know. But this is what we're trying to pull together. At least for me, I feel like it works really well for testables to function as some kind of forcing function, right? To put everything together and test it out. So that is what we're going to try at this testable.
Cool. Looking forward to what comes out of this. And indeed, you might break stuff, you might run into things that aren't there yet, but it gives us good feedback on what the current status is. And also, if you are taking 15.11.8 into the loop, I mean, you can do smart charging without 15.11.8, but if you start using set points for 15.11.8, that becomes even more interesting. So, yeah, fingers crossed. I'm looking forward to the results. Yeah,
we're going to try for 15.11.8-2 talking to OCPP. That is what I mean by end-to-end.
Yeah.
Which is why I don't know that people have actually tried putting the two together, but that is what the CFR, the regulations say should be working now. So let's see where we are in terms of actually having it work.
And then also using a OSP backend as well for the entire end-to-end test. So probably spinning up me for Citrino OS and then cool. Looking forward to the results of that. Nice, nice plan. Thanks. General and discussion and Q&A. With Yannick not here, we're trying out a new schedule. There were not so much topics in the recent weeks, so we ended up with having 5 or 10 minute meetings. So we decided for the general call to try bi-directional schedule, see how that goes, get some experience, and if we have too much to discuss, let's go back to a weekly schedule again. If you have anything that you wanted to put on the agenda, let us know via Zulip or mailing list, and we can put it on there. Yeah, and any meetings we do, we keep track of those meetings with meeting notes on the EVerest wiki. On this wiki, you will find also from all the other working groups the meeting notes to at least keep people up to date with what's happening in the different working groups. Next to this, there's 2 new modules that's being worked on. Evgeny, do you want to have?
Yeah. So basically, yes. So basically, Weather Golf company actually approached EVerest and us and Quello, and basically do like discovery and probably first trials, like implementing OpenADR module for EVerest. So like kind of what we at Quello are proud of is that like they want to do in Rust, which will make them another company that is contributing Rust modules to EVerest. Like we are happy about it. And actually another another module that was introduced recently is actually the BSP for PhyVerso, the board that was presented last October on EVerest Summit. So basically now there is a BSP in the EVerest core available for that.
Yeah, making it really easy to get EVerest up and running on a PhyVerso board.
Exactly.
So yeah, good next integration into EVerest.
Yeah, actually, we just also joined this technical steering committee from TwitterColf, just basically to say hello to everybody. So Tama and me are the guys that will hopefully contribute to working OpenADR implementation here.
Welcome and looking forward to working with you guys.
Thanks.
Greatly appreciated. Monthly release.
Will Tweety Golf want to join the TSC as well? Have one member on an ongoing basis?
I'm not sure. Our management is not here today, and I think they are the ones who would decide that. But I think not yet.
Yeah, definitely not highest priority, I guess.
And also something that but let's discuss that later, is if an OpenADR implementation itself should be part of EVerest or deserves its own repo where we just link in the library. So that's more the architectural stuff that we need to discuss. But getting it as support in EVerest is a really nice step.
Yeah.
That brings us to monthly releases. Kai is not here. Okay. So we are planning a monthly release again. This month is only a source code release, and we do a stable release every 3 months. So that will be in June again, but this month is only a source code release. As always, the release will come in the coming days. This might take a couple of days depending on to get things stable. Some things here are already discussed. The PhyVerso driver is there. There's some refactoring on power meter, transaction handling. Yeah, it's a long list. Read over it, and then this should be the next release. I'm not sure, Kai is not here, who typically does the release, but normally that is probably here either tomorrow on Friday or on Monday. What's next? Roadmap. I did notice that it's almost time to update roadmaps, so I will ask all the different working groups to look at their own part and do an update of their roadmap to see how they are, what they think will be a reachable expectation for the next couple of months. So we updated the OSPP 201 a little bit already. We moved the 2.1 bidirectional charging support to Q3 because we know we're not going to do that this month with Q2 ending, but we really want to start with that. Now, for the rest, we seem to be on track, but I think we should have a chat within the cloud communication working group to check what do we think about the current timeline. Same goes for the 1511A-20. I think we're quite up to speed. We're getting the -20 first release there. Let's also have a chat within the car communication group to check if we need to update the timeline, so we can present next time a up-to-date timeline for both important protocols. Then upcoming events, busy time. There's a big CharIN festival in Poland in first week of June, where Pionix will be with a team. There's CharTech in Munich, where I will give a presentation. Then the week after already, there's a CharIN festival in Cleveland, where the joint office is going to be and do some smart chart testing. Then the same week, there's a hack summit in Switzerland, where somebody from Pionix will be and give a presentation. Then for us, big event, at least for Europe, is Power to Drive. We as Pionix will be there. Moritz, do you know if ChargeByte will be there? Quello? There's a lot of companies typically going to Power to Drive.
Oh, I forgot to check. I could find out. I don't know by heart.
No problem. But it's a big event. Then there's a conference organized by the German Federal Ministry of Digital and Transport that has invited us to be present. So that's where we are going to be. Then there's a CharIN Latin America test event for the first time at Festival in Mexico. That's going to be in September. So that's one of the first events after the summer break. Not sure. I don't think anybody already is that far with planning if they're going to be there. And around that time, I think before, last week, August 1st to September, there's also the ICNC in Berlin, where I think at least Pionix is going to be there. Busy June, and then it's a bit quieter during summertime. But looking forward to meeting a lot of people face to face at one of these events.
We will be at the Power to Drive, I just noticed, exhibiting with at least 3 participants.
Yeah, I would have been surprised if you guys weren't there.
Me too, but I had to check.
Yeah. Then next technical steering committee call is the 27th of June. So yeah, looking forward to seeing a lot of you guys there again.